Hello, and welcome back to the next episode of the book Crusades. This episode will go through the composer's purpose and how a character demonstrated courage in the book. But before we do that though, let's have a recap of last week's episode, which was on the plot. Last week we talked about how the book features and contrasts two powerful religions and cultures that clashed over the same holy land, Jerusalem. The book intertwines perspectives and beliefs of both sides, and is based around the siege of Acre, a crossroad to Jerusalem. Last week, we also talked about the personal stories of the book revolving around Adam and Salim. They are fighting on opposite sides of the Crusades, originally having strong negative beliefs about the other side. The experiences of Salim and Adam allow the flawed misconceptions that they have about each other to be disproven. Soon they realize that in the end, everyone is human and the same.
Such a good book, but why would Elizabeth Laird want to utilize her time in such a way instead of watching our show?
To help us make content.
Jokes aside, what was the author's purpose? Elizabeth Laird's purpose in writing Crusades was to entertain us while informing us about how life in the Crusades was. It highlights the rifts and misconceptions between Islam and Christianity. The book shows the atrocities and acts of kindness that each side shows to each other, showing both viewpoints of the war. Laird wanted to educate the readers about the hardships of war, and to teach us how there's no winner in war. She writes about how the opposing sides carry completely unfair and incorrect misconceptions about each other, and how the best way to overcome the prejudice is to spend time with the other.
With all the war and fighting, there must have been courage shown by someone. Can you give me an example of someone who did?
Jeanette may be the most courageous one. Throughout the book, she constantly puts her safety and life on the line to help others. Jeanette had sneaked onto a carriage to go to the crusade despite the danger and possibility of punishment to comfort Adam. Also, she was a woman. It's a well-known fact that medieval Europe was a patriarchal and sexist society, yet she continues to be strong and help others regardless of what the men think of her. Finally, she risked her life, giving water out to the soldiers sieging Acre, which eventually led to her death. She sacrificed her life to help others. She was a courageous and kind person till the very end. To wrap up today's episode, let's end with the thought that despite hardships and troubles, showing courage in the face of adversity is what makes a good person a great one. Thanks for watching.